Today we're going to show you how to take this meatball recipe and make 12 meals out of it. Welcome to our home.
Let's begin! For the meatballs, you'll need these 12 ingredients, and feel free to sub in the onions for other varieties or even shallots. Now to make them, really all you gotta do is combine all the ingredients in one big bowl and mix it up. I find it easiest and fastest to use your hands for this, even if it is a little nasty. And once everything is combined evenly, it's time to form the meatballs. Make them as big or small as you'd like. Bake them for 30 minutes at 350 degrees, and then they're ready to put into a meal. The following recipes are from all corners of the internet and the world, and I've linked them all below. But our first meal is simple enough that I didn't really need a recipe, and that's spaghetti and meatballs. All you have to do is add minced garlic and olive oil to a saucepan on medium heat, letting it get aromatic. Then put plain tomato sauce in and bring it to a simmer, at which point you can start cooking the pasta. Once the sauce is simmering, add dried basil, salt, and pepper to taste, and optionally some Parmesan cheese. Now it's time to plate it. Pasta, meatballs, sauce, and some more Parmesan cheese on top. Simple, easy, delicious. And our next recipe is just as simple. Meatball sub. Alex made this amazing hoagie, and I thought what better way to use it than a meatball sub. Toast your bread with some butter until it's nice and golden, then add your sauce. I used the same sauce that I made in the previous recipe. Meatballs, obviously, mozzarella, and Parmesan cheese. Do this on both sides and bake in the oven at 350 degrees until your cheese is nice and melty. Mine was ready in about 10 minutes. Squish it together and you've got a delicious meatball sub. I mean, look at that. The perfect lunch. Next up, we've got meatball stroganoff. This dish originated in Russia and features a savory sour cream sauce, reflecting the Russian affinity for sour cream-based sauces, which is a key feature of their cuisine. Most stroganoff recipes that you see today include mushrooms, but the original recipe actually did not. So I'm gonna pretend like I didn't forget the mushrooms and say that we're making a more traditional recipe. Something I didn't forget though was the egg noodles. Mix it all together and you've got a delicious meatball stroganoff. This one is Alex's favorite. It's savory, creamy, and a little tangy too. Our next recipe is very similar but comes from a different country on the other side of Europe. Or so I thought. And that's Swedish meatballs. I did a little research and found that Swedish meatballs are actually based on a recipe King Charles XII brought from Turkey in the early 18th century. So Swedish meatballs are actually Turkish meatballs? Mind blown. But a lot of recipes are actually like that. That's what makes cultural cuisine so interesting. In the case of Swedish meatballs, during the early 1700s, King Charles XII lived in exile in the Ottoman Empire, or modern-day Turkey, where he and his entourage developed a taste for local cuisine, including spiced meatballs. Upon returning to Sweden, these culinary influences, including the meatball concept, were incorporated into Swedish cooking. And then they became a staple dish in Sweden, and thus were known as Swedish meatballs. So it's less a story about Sweden stealing the recipe, and more a story of a dish being so good it became a staple in a completely different culture. And also IKEA. I paired these with egg noodles, similar to the stroganoff, and they came out delicious. Next up is a snack plate. I see these all over TikTok and I make them when I really don't want to cook anything. It takes hardly any time at all, and I use things I have in my fridge already. The only trick with these is to make something that looks appetizing to you. Put all the things you like on this. Make sure you've got a little bit of each food group and you'll feel very satiated when you're finished eating. And, something to note, all the flavors end up combining when you start digging in, so if there are any items you don't like together, maybe put them on a separate little plate. This is how ours turned out. It's pretty big, so Alex and I are going to share it. Next is a Greek plate. We used to make this a lot when we were first dating because we were both super busy with work and we hardly had any time to cook. This meal comes together so quickly and it's so healthy and delicious. Make a Greek salad using equal parts cucumber, tomato, and bell pepper. Then add in some Kalamata olives, vinegar, lemon juice, olive oil, salt, pepper, and a generous helping of feta cheese. Mix it up, and you've got a gorgeous, glowing salad. Then make some basmati rice, prep your pita, and serve. We add packaged tzatziki sauce and hummus and mix it all together when we eat it. In this one meal, you've got every food group, lots of colors, and all those delicious Mediterranean flavors. It's the perfect meal if you ask me. Next, we're leaving Greece and heading to Germany for königsberger klopse. I'm saying that as best I can. This looks very similar to the Swedish meatballs and stroganoff, but it's actually quite different. Named after the East Prussian capital city of Königsberg, this dish is a symbol of Germany's Prussian culinary heritage. The sauce is savory and creamy, and while reading the recipe, I was so excited to see that it includes capers. I love capers, and I added way more than the recipe called for, and it still wasn't enough for me. This dish is traditionally paired with potatoes, or beets, but I just ate it by itself, and it was so delicious. Now we're gonna do a bit of traveling again, this time all the way to Japan for some teriyaki meatballs. Feel free to jump in the comments and write an essay about how meatballs aren't Japanese. Funnily enough, I already know that. Teriyaki sauce, however, is. Well, sort of. Teriyaki is derived from the Japanese words teri, meaning shine, and yaki, meaning grill. And while associated with Japanese cuisine, its roots can be traced back to Chinese culinary traditions. The Chinese dish tiaojiro, or sticky soy sauce meat, is believed to be the precursor to teriyaki sauce. This dish, made with soy sauce, sugar, and spices, was introduced to Japan during the Tang Dynasty, and gradually evolved into the teriyaki sauce we know today. I paired this dish with rice and garnished it with green onions and sesame seeds. Might not be traditional, but it sure is good. Now we're going to travel to the US of A for some cowboy meatballs. I tried to research the origin of these, but all I could find was this. Cowboy meatballs generally refers to a modern, hearty, and often sweet and spicy take on the classic meatball, designed to evoke the flavors of the American West. And apparently, those flavors are barbecue sauce, adobo, and jalapeno peppers. That's like half of the sauce. And I'm not complaining because it turned out delicious and very spicy, which I love. And in true American fashion, I got this recipe from Southern Living, and they recommend pairing over rice or mashed potatoes, which sounds incredible, but we paired it with a Trader Joe's hash brown and avocado, and oh my gosh, it was so good. Now, since I didn't order these recipes geographically, we're going all the way back to Europe for
French onion soup. French onion soup is the ultimate poor man's meal. Onions and water. Like, what? How is it so good? But we don't have to worry about the simple version of this amazing dish, since today we'll be loosely following Julia Child's recipe. There's nothing like a hot bowl of homemade onion soup on a cold day. It fills your soul, and this adaptation of Julia's recipe gives it a ton of flavor. Plus, that meatball gives it an extra punch of meatiness that makes my inner masculine instincts roar with satisfaction. I should be a poet. What do you think? With that said, I hope you enjoy this dish as we now make our way back to my home country of Italy for this next meal.
Italian wedding soup. This dish originated in Naples, Italy as a rustic peasant-style meal, and despite what the name would lead you to believe, it's not served at weddings. The name wedding soup comes from a mistranslation of the Italian minestra maritata, which translates as married soup. So, the marriage isn't a marriage between two people, but between vegetables and meat. The soup is considered a peasant dish since it was made as a way to use inexpensive ingredients and leftovers. But I feel like royalty eating it, because even though it's a peasant dish, it's still known as the king of Neapolitan soups. And I think that description is spot on. Buon appetito! And finally, I saved the best for last, albondigas soup. This dish is my favorite on the list, and it's considered a Mexican dish, but its roots go much deeper than that. The name albondigas is derived from the Arabic word albunduk, meaning hazelnut or small round object, indicating the meatballs. So it originated in the Middle East, and then was introduced to Spain in the 6th century. And like many Spanish dishes, it made its way to Latin America with the help of Spanish conquistadors. And there it melded with local ingredients, evolving into a popular Mexican comfort food featuring meatballs and a tomato-based broth. It's probably my favorite soup. It's got all the flavors that taste like home. Hearty, savory, and warm. Comfort food at its best. Buen provecho!
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We hope you enjoyed all those meals. We did. We certainly did. We're gonna go eat some more meatballs. We have meatballs for days. And post your favorite meal down below. And we'd like to hear the results that you had. So be sure to comment, like, subscribe, do all the things. I don't know, what do people say when it comes to YouTube? Doesn't matter. We love you. Eat a meatball, save a cowboy.
Bye.